Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade,
And I'm Joe.
and it's Pride Month, and we're doing a new release that's coming out on Pride Month. Maybe I think they planned it. It is Querelle,
Yeah.
directed by Werner Fassbinder. It's
Yep.
his final film.
His last movie.
He died. I believe he
It's like
had
2 weeks after,
he
or
had
2 weeks
two-
before.
at the age of
really.
37. He had too much cocaine, pretty much, from what I heard.
Yeah, he worked like I forgot how, it was 17 years or something, and he would put out like 3 movies a year or something crazy, and do stage productions.
Yeah, like he was doing a lot, and so we've done a couple of his films, Fox and His Friends.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we did a couple.
Ali Fear Eats the Soul, I believe we did.
I think we did that. But like this is it. This is the final. I mean, he has more movies. No Criterion Connection will probably do more. But like, this is the last movie he ever did. It is based on a book. Querelle and of Brest. By Jean Genet, I believe was the name.
And I believe, was it Jacques Cocteau did illustrations for it?
I think so, yeah. I wrote this cinematography by Xaver Schwarzenberger. I had to write that down because I would probably have butchered it. And it stars Brad Davis, and most notable person is probably Franco Nero.
Yeah.
Who's Django. He's been he was like, he's still acting. He was in John Wick 2. So, and he plays like the lieutenant. Like he's very like, I feel like he's like not a major role. He's like doing that like a cameo role, but he doesn't play the major part of the film. He's like
Tobey Maguire in Great Gatsby.
Yes.
He plays that kind of character.
So watch this on the Criterion channel. I was fully anticipating this being all in German, English dub.
Yeah,
which
it was in
like,
English.
Yes.
Well, it's not only that it was an English dub. Like, most of the actors are speaking English.
Yes, most of them.
I was shocked.
I was not expecting. Like, I would say this about the Criterion. I only seen the Criterion cover of the new art they did for their release.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, that's interesting, and then you watch the film, and you're like, oh. That's why it's so yellow. It's probably the yellowest film I've ever seen in my life.
It was interesting, that yellow-orange hue, that
the marigold kind of.
I think it worked.
I liked it.
Like you normally like a yellowish like color balance is not great.
Yeah.
It really works for this.
Yeah, and they won't do any highlighting. They'll use like a blue or something like that. Yeah. It really worked. It had a look to it. It had that smoky 80s like gleam on it. It was very like, it looked like a stage play,
which is where he gets. Yeah, a lot of his experience. He did a lot of stage work,
especially when you get to when you have the ship and it's on looking into the town, and it's very. I believe the town's called Brest.
Yes, it's a very famous place.
Yeah. So there's that, and there's a lot. I'm just gonna say that going to this, I knew that Fassbinder had gay undertones, overtones, whatever in his films. I know we've seen many of them. This one just says, this is my last film. I'm just going to go all out. He didn't know if it was the last film, but like, what a way to go out. It's definitely very stylized, very violent, very rough.
Yeah.
And, very punches to the gut. There's a lot of those. It's very phallic.
It's very aggressive.
Yes, there's
so much aggressive. Like there's aggressive characters, aggressive situations.
I mean, him and his brother punch each other all the time.
Yeah.
Well, they punch each other. They have a big fight scene in front of like, was that like a dramatization like of like Christ carrying the crucifix, or were they actually doing crucifixions?
I think it was. I'm not really sure.
Was it a reenactment or something? You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I'm not sure.
But they're having this fight, not epic fight. They're having this interesting fight.
Jesus carrying a cross with a crown of thorns. It was an interesting touch. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Maybe he's fighting with his inner like sexuality to where like you have these the religious.
Well, that's the thing.
Maybe that's what they were
So
doing.
that's part of what I think is going on in the film. That's why it's so overtly aggressive all the time, because it's somebody who doesn't want to admit that they're, bisexual, pansexual, whatever, and is like so, I guess, in the closet, but at the same time he refuses to acknowledge it, but actively engages, and like he loses the dice game where he's talking with Mario, and Mario is like, well, did you, like, was it nice, does it bother you to talk about it? He's like, no, it's fine, it's whatever. And he's like, it's just this, it's simultaneously being in the closet but being super nonchalant with your kind of,
and it's not
fluid sexuality. It's a really interesting development of a character.
And that's not the only thing he's hiding. He's also hiding that he's pretty much a murderer.
Yeah.
And, like he befriends someone that's also kind of like in that, it's a part of like, it kind of feels like Gil, was it Gil or Jill or something like that?
Yeah.
Where like maybe he felt that he could be like that domineering, that power. That, because usually, I mean, there's scenes of him, kind of basically an aggressive sex, where he is receiving, and he mentioned something about like, him giving, it involves love and stuff like that. There's a lot of, that's why it's so aggressive, is because he has issues with his brother.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's just the male, like he has frustrations with male in general. It's
this whole like masculine identity, and you see it everywhere in the film. Like you have it with him and the rest of the Navy guys, and it's this hyper sexualized portrayal, but like also like living in that hyper masculinity. And then like, Mario, who's a cop, you have Nono, who like runs this like hotel-ish kind of thing, brothel.
It's like a brothel. Yeah, it's like
and it's just these hyper aggressive males, and a lot of them in masculine jobs or masculine roles, and like it's just, I don't know, it's a weird juxtaposition, I guess, where it's this real play of that.
And the costumes are very like on the nose. He's a sailor. There's one that just has the I guess the stereotypical biker.
Yeah, that's the cop.
Yeah, the cop. Yeah,
and then you have Gil, like you were bringing up, like he's a coal miner or something. Yeah. Like it's these miner guys or coal shovelers or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's very strange, and
then Frank O'Neill is just admiring from afar.
Yeah, it's not like a movie I would have ever expected to be the way it was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so like it's such an interesting place to be of a movie with so much plot, but also no plot.
Yeah.
At the same time,
yeah.
Just like how this character is also like, very understated and ambitious, but also like obviously always working towards a goal.
Yeah, yeah.
He denies his sexuality, but at the same time revels in it. It's a crazy movie that allows you to be in two places at once.
Yeah, it's an adventure. I will say, like, I had to rewind a couple times, because if you don't pay attention to it for like maybe a minute or two, you're gonna be like, "What?"
You're gonna be a little lost.
What happened?
Yeah.
But aside from that, I think Brad Davis does a really good job as the titular character.
Yeah, he's able to capture
just the complexity,
stoicism, and also vulnerability. Like it just really worked in this.
Yeah.
honestly, like Franco Nero, he has a relatively smaller part, and he's the one.
He's kind of the glue that holds it together.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that loves, or at least is infatuated with Querelle, but never gets the time of day. And honestly, like, that's probably one of the more unnoteworthy performances, I think. I perhaps having Franco Nero there is more of this metatextual, like, I have Franco Nero who played Django and all these really hyper masculine roles in this role of a very I mean, I hate to use the word, but I mean, he's very impotent in this film. You know, he doesn't have much control over the situation as much as he wants to exert control over it. So I'm wondering if that's like kind of the pull there, but like he's not like, it's not a over the top like great like performance. It's not nothing to really write home about. He's serviceable.
I also think maybe he's probably one of the more straightforward characters. Compared to a lot of characters where their motives are kind of like, you know, they're not. It always feels like Robert, like Querelle's brother, has like, you're not seeing the full picture of him. Like, there's something that he has like a facade about him.
Well,
there's
and that's what
about Querelle, because he's also a criminal. You know,
was it Lysiane? She hints at it. Mother. Yeah, she hints at it with Robert a lot.
Yeah,
where she, in their dialogue or their back and forth, and even with No sometimes, where it's like hinting at like this. There's something else under the surface with Robert that, like, you know, No's like, I could have made it with you, but I didn't want to. You know, that kind of stuff. And it's just like this weird undertone of like, there's obviously more going on.
Maybe he's conflicted.
Obviously. I mean, they bring up like if the brothers were attracted to each other, I think, early on.
Which at the end they kind of lean into that, but they kind of don't. It just kind of ends.
Yeah.
I guess a question that I ask every time: would you recommend this film to the general audience? We watch this on the Criterion channel, by the way, so it is available to stream. I believe it's also on Tubi. I believe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a tough one.
I'm also,
because it's a very interesting movie.
But it's definitely a movie you've got to pay attention to, and if you look away, you're gonna have to like it's both convoluted and not.
It's so deceivingly simple, but also it's deceivingly complicated.
Yeah,
it's such an interesting movie in that way.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna err on the side of man. Fassbinder just be making it hard on me in these. I think I'm gonna say yes. I really love the look of it. I love the way they do a lot of the set and like blocking. It is an aggressive movie, so that's kind of where my trepidation comes, because it may be just a little too much for some.
Yeah.
But I find it so uniquely interesting, and the characters interesting, and you're in this moment of like, you're watching and you're like, I find this both fascinating, but also I wish more was happening, but at the same time there's too much to keep track of.
Yeah,
it's such a weird place. It's just such a it's a box that is so not, it's uncomfortable in a good way, I think.
Yeah,
where it's completely, I mean, this is fairly different from any experience I've had for the most part, to be, like I said, like, it's like being in two places at once.
I'd recommend it.
I
would say, I mean, especially for Pride Month, if you're looking for some good like gay LGBTQ plus films, I think this is definitely worth it, especially as a new release.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably strangely enough, it's probably one of the most digestible Fassbinder films because it's not 3 hours long.
Yeah, that we've seen.
It's only like an hour and 48 minutes.
And it's also...
It's definitely interesting. Like, there's a lot of, like... I don't know if it was purposely supposed to be kind of comedic at times. Like, the fight between the two brothers is weird.
Yeah. It's strange.
The weird thing about punching the guts. Why there's so much phallic architecture.
Yeah,
it's so. But it also looks really great in this yellowish orange lighting. And it has that smoky feel that makes you feel like you're watching like some 70s soap opera.
Yeah, you gotta like wipe off the camera lens after every shot. It's
something that I appreciate those things.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, and like the way the characters move are really interesting. It's so unique, and
it's unique. That's a good way to describe it.
It's a very unique film, and even for
I've never seen a film like this.
We haven't watched all of Fassbinder's films. There's a lot of them in a very short amount of time, and of the ones I've seen, like, this is very different. I mean, we've talked, like, I think the closest thing we've seen is maybe Fox and His Friends, and this doesn't have like the super depressive ending either.
No, this movie was not depressing.
So it's just this interesting moment captured in his career, and I mean, once we track down some more and watch more of them, I guess we could figure out if this is still that unicorn in his filmography, or if it's like just indicative of some of the other films.
I think it's a good closing chapter for him.
Yeah,
for his film.
It's just very strange, and you know, it's crazy. I believe, did this win or was nominated for a Razzie for the song?
Oh, maybe. I could see some people being turned off by the film.
Oh, I could see a lot of people getting turned off by the film. It's early on, it gets you, and you're like, okay, this is going to be different.
It sets you up. They're like, okay, this is going to be very, very masculine, very hyper-sexualized, and hyper-violent, and hyper-violent. It's not like it's a Takeshi Miike film or anything like that. It's not like that.
It's just
Tokyo Gore Police.
But like I said, it's such a unique film, and so uniquely, like, just gives me a unique experience that I don't really think about with other films, and I don't think I've experienced with other films, that it's hard to say. Like, I could see easily saying no because of the earlier scenes or like certain encounters, and just being so kind of abrasive about it to a degree. But at the same time, like, I don't think it's overly so compared to like films with straight, scenes like that.
Like Naked.
Yeah.
There was an uncomfortable scene in Naked. A lot of aggression.
And I just think, like, it's just such a unique experience. It was so different, and I was really enthralled by it, and I think it's worth watching. Yeah.
So that's it. That's 2 recommendations from us.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comment section below what you think about this film. Did you buy it? If you bought it, tell us how the supplements are. I don't know what the supplements are. I didn't actually look at all that.
And Criterion doesn't have any of them up. It's
not
just
yet.
the film.
Yeah. So let us know. What's other Fassbinder films we have not done? We've done a couple. There's plenty more. Criterion. He's the Kurosawa of like maybe German directors for the Criterion, where they just have everything. It's like the David Lynch. They have almost everything he's done.
Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll ever be able to do Berlin Alexanderplatz, the big epic that he did.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to dedicate a whole month to that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we'll do a Fassbinder February or something stupid like that. But be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on Instagram, which is Condish Productions. That's it. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
And we'll see you later.